What's up, y'all? Good morning. Happy Monday. It's your Steph. Today I want to talk about my experience with living in income-based, low-income housing Section 8. I used to make these videos all the time on my other channel, but being that it was a while back, I'm like, let me start these videos over and continue for 2026. I can share my little housing story. When I was younger, I would get like assistance with housing and things like that. When you have like certain, issues, you can qualify for it. So being that I was able to qualify for Section 8, I had it off and on throughout my younger years up until like my mid to late 30s. So the things about Section 8 and income-based housing, it's good for certain reasons to where if people need affordable housing and the property has it and it's like either low-income housing tax credit properties, then hell, why not? If you have no other choice, then live there and you have the means to live there, the income to live there, especially if you have children, then, why not stay there? You know what I'm saying? Because the way it is now is kind of like there's no other options except outside of, income-based housing, which is the streets, family members, and some people just don't want to do that. So basically, I kind of had my good share, my bad share of income-based housing Section 8, but I do want to talk about a little bit of both. So right now I'm just sticking off the dome because I didn't script this video. It's not scripted. I didn't write down any notes for it. But if I do, have other things to say, I'll just make a whole nother video. So basically, I mean, the good things about it is you get reduced income. Yeah. You get, like sometimes they have programs to basically get you up out of there to make more money. So that's a benefit too. Sometimes they have like daycare assistant programs, if you live in certain housing situations. You might have reduced utility bills. Pretty much everything is a lot more affordable, but then again, it's not if you have other bills outside of rent. So I feel like with income-based housing, I know there's it's more good things about it, you know what I'm saying? But right now, I can't think of anything else to say. But I am going to address the bad stuff because I've experienced a lot of crap throughout the years dealing with income-based housing. So let me start with the Section 8 stuff. People were saying, well, Section 8 is great. It was to a certain extent now. So basically, people don't know about the voucher program. You apply, get on a waiting list for the state. And then when when housing becomes open, you have like a little briefing or a meeting. They give you a voucher. You got to look for a house or apartment to stay in. So with that, okay, and this is why I feel like the Section 8 program is a bunch of crap and possibly needs to be eliminated because of the fact that it doesn't really serve a purpose for, honestly, the homeowner. You know what I'm saying? The homeowner, or the person that's looking for housing. So basically, I had issues to where I would stay somewhere every 2 years. Apartment complexes out here, they're not really like Section 8 apartments. So if you have like a regular like property manager or property owner that wants to accept the voucher, they'll take it until they feel like they shouldn't take it no more. And a lot of times they'll stop taking it because of the way, how families leave these places, you know what I'm saying? Or how, their children take care of these properties or not, well, just like literally not respecting the housing pretty much. And it's a mess. When I say it's a mess to where, yeah, it might be messy, but it's to where, sometimes the children makes it harder for the parent to like literally control, I guess the cleanliness of housing it. Like it's a lot that come with it, yo. But at the end of the day, the program is helpful to certain extents. Now, like I said, I like to speak about Georgia's, income-based housing. With Section 8, the drawbacks are when the landlord wants to just like say, F this program, I'm tired of it. I don't even want to be a part of it no more. So you have people that live there and it's kind of like, well, they have to find somewhere to live. with the voucher. And the way it is now, it's like a lot of places, like a lot of companies, like a lot of property owners don't want to take the voucher. Yeah, you get the tax benefits, you get, you know what I'm saying, supposed to get rent paid on you. It's like, I guess, a residual income when it comes to rent and things like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like if you got to deal with people, number one, that possibly won't be able to pay their portion of the rent because of the issues with employment, you know, the issues with not making no money, you know, the issues with childcare at one point. You got people that got to stay at home all day with their 2 and 3, 4 kids. And what's going to happen? They're not going to pay rent like that unless they get other benefits to assist them with paying rent. So it comes to the point where I kind of feel like, you know, with Section 8, it can be a holdbacker, you know what I'm saying, to actually progress in life. I mean, I meet a lot of people that have said that. You know, I've met people on the internet, well, not meet them, but I hear people on the internet all the time talking about how it kept them, you know, guarding to want to succeed in life, you know, because it's like if you don't work, your income is reduced. So people just feel like, well, I live here. Okay, I lost a job, so I don't have to go make any money and go, you know what I'm saying, try to like, you know, move up in the world. Because you got a lot of people that be on these programs to where they just feel like they're just obligated not to work. And so I kind of had that mindset at one point, you know what I'm saying? And being that, you know, when you get certain type of assistance and benefits, it's kind of like, well, you know, you live off the government. Why not keep the housing? You know, you work when you want to work. When you quit, like people will literally quit jobs because they don't want their rent to go up. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the reality of being in these housing programs. Kind of like some people don't take advantage of it, so where they taking advantage of it to actually move and succeed and, you know, move on with life and actually just get out of the housing situation, the low income stuff. But then you got some people that actually need it. You know what I'm saying? When I say people that need it, people that are more, and I hate to say disabled people because I deal with some stuff and I feel like, you know, Section 8 housing is not suitable for people who are like disabled and stuff like that, or got, you know, health problems to where they need assistance, especially older people. It's not suitable for elderly people. So another thing about it, okay, yeah, the landlords can just say, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? We out of here. We don't want this program anymore. Due to issues of them not getting paid on time, or it's to where, you know, the house is, the place is not clean. You know, people be having issues to where they can't get certain services for other stuff related to not housing, but related to their health needs. And then it's kind of like, you know, there's things that they cannot do because they need help and they can't move around the house. Because I done experienced some stuff. And sometimes, landlords can't help you with making more places accessible to people with like needs and stuff, healthcare needs. Another thing is that they get up on your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of hard for, if somebody had like real high income assets, like they will eventually find out what you got. You know what I'm saying? And it's to where you can hide as much as you want, you know what I'm saying? You can hide, you can lie, but eventually they'll find out, you know what I'm saying? Like these people do, you know what I'm saying, investigations and all that stuff like that. And it's to where when they find out, you could possibly be kicked out or owe the government money and all that craziness stuff, or even be in prison. So you got you got them being all up in your shit, all up in your business and all that stuff. And who wants to go through that type of interrogation? Another thing is a limit to like making money at times. So, you know, if you make a certain amount of money, you can't live there no more. You know what I'm saying? And even if you want to, you know, excel with making more money, some of these places, like some of these programs have rules to where, well, if you want to travel and make money, like if you want a traveling type of job or career, like you're not going to be able to keep it. I've already learned this already. You know what I'm saying? And this is just for Section 8. You know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of other issues with Section 8, but now I want to talk about income-based housing. So a lot of times they have these income-based housings through housing authorities. So, you know, it's like every state, every supposedly city has a housing authority. They get funded through the federal government, da 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 da. So you got some property owners, they will go through a program called the Low Income Housing Tax Credit, LIHTC, and basically they'll have a property and they'll get all these tax credits from the government because of them, housing people that are on low income. I don't know how it is now. At one point, these companies get tax credits, and they probably still do, but I know there's different types of programs where it's different type of credits, because I don't research this stuff. So anyway, last year, the year before, I was living in income-based housing. And sometimes you'll have some issues, You would definitely ruffle some feathers with some of these landlords and issues. So, if you have issues in these places, you will have people hate on you, or it's to where, they see you doing good. They see you out here hustling, and literally try to ruin, your life, ruin your income. I had an issue recently, It's to where these people would just go in your apartment, like housing. They go in, they do inspections. I get the inspections to make sure the property is like up to code and all that. But then it comes to the point where you have some issues with some of these black landlords, and I'm just going to be real about it. And when you start reporting stuff, okay, they want to find any way to get you up out of these homes, out of these places. So when you have issues and you try to resolve them without going and taking it to the next level, going to HUD and reporting outside of, the community, it's like you face retaliation. So, if you live somewhere that is not really suitable for your living needs, and then you have problems expressing yourself when there is a problem, then you have to get other government entities into a situation that could just be escalated simple by just talking about issues in your neighborhood and not being retaliated against, because you're literally hated on, yo. And it's to where, they could just kick you out. It's like a 3-strike you're out rule when it comes to being, living in these places. So, people will want to come in, live with you, having visitors for a while. It's a problem to have visitors. It's a problem to have, like, just people stay there. Like, if you want to, have an animal, sometimes some of these places don't let you, they won't even let you, have a dog or, have a fish. It's like you literally can't, like, live life. Like, you're like literally trapped, okay? So where, it's income based. So it's like you feel like you don't have to make money like that. Then you got people who are lazy, that don't want to do nothing. They sit outside, monitor you, watch you all day. And you got people that just don't like you for whatever. You know what I'm saying? And there's people that go out and go work and try to make money, but then you got people that watch you, monitor you all day, like literally take pictures of you, all type of craziness to get you caught up in stuff. Sometimes you have to watch people that you deal with, that you invite over, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, these people could shit on you. These people could rat on you and stuff, yo. And I done experienced some stuff to where I've had so much stuff going on to where I had an issue with somebody, and literally it kind of had a triple effect with other stuff. You got people sitting outside of your apartment. You got people that would smoke in these communities that know they're not supposed to smoke or don't smoke in a designated area. You got people that will literally just move other people in and literally have like a lease. Then they have a lease to live there. Like, it's crazy. So, you deal with some problems. And like I said, the traveling situation, if you want to have a job where you have to leave the state and go from state to state, or anything related to working outside of your state, it's a problem. You can't be going for like over 90 days, 6 months, 30 days. Like, there's like rules to where if you have a medical emergency, you can't be going over a certain amount of time living in income-based housing. So basically, if you had an ongoing medical emergency to where you had to either get surgery out of state, even if you had to go somewhere to be around, your family for a while due to family issues, and you're gone for more than a month or more than 2 months, they will suspend your lease. It's almost happened to me quite a few times. So it's like, if you have certain healthcare needs and you have a place living to where they don't even care about, other issues besides you, outside of you paying your rent, sometimes these low income properties is not even suitable for certain people to live at. And I want to get into another video because of the fact that you got people with disabilities, and sometimes those people living in those type of environments they're not catering to people with disabilities. You know what I'm saying? That's another subject I do want to get into. But yeah, it comes with, inspections. Sometimes they're inspecting for other stuff when you're not home. Okay, sometimes they will literally look at your phone devices, Wi-Fi. I done had all this stuff happen to me. And then on my last channel, I was doing YouTube. I was bickering and complaining for like the 3 years that I lived in the last place. And it's kind of like, okay, well, if y'all don't, accommodate certain issues and stuff, what's the point of being somewhere to where you have to start bickering, complaining, and bitching? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, stuff happens for a reason in the season. And, sometimes you're not have to say you're put into a situation, but, sometimes things just work out the way they work out, or they don't work out the way they don't work out. And so, this is why you have to be prepared to move out when you live in these type of environments. So you have to be prepared mentally, financially, and just, finding a way to make a way up out of these places. Because at the end of the day, all these landlords can say, fuck this shit. They could opt out of these income-based programs. And then what happens? Then you're like stuck trying to figure it out. So anyway, y'all, I'm just sharing my experience with, these income-based properties. And I know the economy is really bad now, so people would just be so desperate to get in some of these housing programs. But then you got people that get it. Like, it's to where they don't even want to be bothered. And I think it's sad to where you got people that literally don't want to be in those type of environments because of the way the rules are set up. You know what I'm saying? It's just, some of this stuff is just stupid. But anyway, I would love to hear some feedback below in the comment section. I'm going to throw this video on my website. And yeah, with that being said, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.